Welcome to Madrid. Right behind me, you can see, is the Calatrava Column. When it was constructed in 2009, it was supposed to be the thing of Madrid, you know? Like Eiffel Tower for Paris or the Washington Monument for Washington, D.C. And yeah, it looks pretty cool, huh? It's all golden and glistening under the ever shiny and sunny city of Madrid, the capital of Spain. But now, barely anyone noticed it. Every car just drives by. There's no tourists here. There's no infrastructure. I'm standing in a motorcycle parking lot. And most importantly, it has only 3.1 stars on Google Maps. You know you have not made it when you have below 4.5 as a tourism attraction. How come? Well, today I'll tell you the downfall of this column. The year was 2002. Caja Madrid, one of the biggest banks here in the city, decided to celebrate its 300th anniversary with something special. You see, Santiago Calatrava, one of the most important and influential architects from the 21st century, have built things all around the world, including the World Trade Center station that rose from the ashes of the 9/11 attacks. Yeah, that one. It was very peculiar that he did not have any work here in the Madrid, you know, the capital city of the country that he is from. So he was commissioned to build something really unusual as the new symbol of the city. And he came up with this column. It was originally supposed to be 400 feet, 120 meters, that soars into the sky, but the problem arose with the very first design. Well, you see that Plaza de Castilla, where this column is supposed to be situated at, is a huge transportation hub. Right behind me is a huge bus station. Every single direction, all of the buses will come and stop here. And not to mention, 3 major metro lines goes beneath this road. So they tunneled through all kinds of sizes as well as shapes all beneath there. So yeah, it's pretty hollow down there. So imagine sitting a 400 feet huge column at one place in the middle of all of the plaza. It's gonna be disastrous. But in a normal situation, this 400 feet column should be perfectly fine because they usually do not weigh too much. But based on Calatrava's design, yeah, it was gonna be pretty problematic. You see, all 462 pieces of bronze columns measuring more than 9 meters each are actually fixated on a hydraulic system, so they can move up and down and left to right a little bit. It was supposed to have this kind of masculinity of being a huge tall column, you know, masculinity, right? And then have some kind of feminine movement of this kind of wavy motion throughout, and it's supposed to work 24/7. And that is the very reason of the downfall of this project. You see, this entire column is extremely heavy. Each of these 462 plates are very heavy, so they have to be fitted with very strong hydraulics, and that means this thing is more than 50 tons. So yeah, imagine building that on top of a tunnel system. The entire thing was changed from 400 feet all the way down to 300 feet, significantly diminishing its, well, significance, right? And then the second thing is that since all of these have to move, it is ridiculously expensive to maintain. And luckily for the bank, they only constructed this entire project so that it can be donated to the city. So the city has to take over this hot potato. And guess what? According to the first month of its operation, the records show that each month, just to maintain all of these hydraulics, all of these plates, and trying to keep them clean and away from malfunction, it costs the city, the taxpayers' money, more than 180,000 euros. And coincidentally, that first month of operation was also the only month of its operation. And I don't blame the city. It is just way too costly to maintain this whole thing and keep it moving all the time. Not to mention the electricity, the maintenance, and at night the lighting. They have basically just decided to keep it in a static state ever since. And it has been more than a decade, and nobody has remembered this column for its significance or any of those artistic merit. The only thing that is remembered is that this is probably the biggest failure of a public project here in Spain, or in Madrid for sure. Well, what did we learn from this failure of a project? Well, the first thing we can learn from this disaster is that for this kind of public artwork as well as statue or anything that costs a lot of money, the initial funding or the initial procurement of this, basically the construction, all of the sunk cost, is not necessarily the biggest concern for any major entities, for the cities or for the corporation that want to donate it to the city. The upkeep and the maintenance is probably the most important part of this entire thing, because without a proper schedule or basically a really cost-effective scheme, you really can't expect this thing to last long, or perhaps even if it lasts long, it becomes a very notorious project like this column. And the second thing is, don't send your kids to architecture school. Once he or she becomes famous and become a snobby artistic one. Oh, another thing, you should probably like and subscribe if you want to see more really crazy stories from all around the world. Perhaps some of them like this, or some of them a little bit more artistic and less failure-ish.